I was watching a TikTok, and the TikTok talked about how it just made it clear that Alphaba should have been a black woman all along. And as I watched a movie last week, I think it was like last week on last week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, I don't know. Sometime last week, I've come to realize that, I think it was last week Saturday, that Alphaba should have been a black woman. Like, I don't really understand as to why that Alphaba was never played by a black woman. Alphaba is the green character in Wicked who gets essentially ostracized at the very end, but who's treated differently because of the color of her skin, not her personality, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who was like different like Alphaba in terms of personality, but the color of her skin is the reason why people hate her. So like, it only made sense to me that a black woman should have played this role all along, and the play adaptions and any of that nature. And sequentially enough, Cynthia was able to win John M. Chu's heart and emotions and mind. And John M. Chu was casting for Alphaba and for Glinda. And they, of course, we all know all of the actors who try to audition for the role. And I honestly cannot see anybody else playing these roles, because the way that Glinda and Alphaba, played by Ariana Grande and Cynthia, the way they played it is just absolutely magnificent and just world binding, and it just out of this world incredible. And it really pulled on emotions, and I really cannot see anybody else playing these roles. But Jonathan Chu had Ariana Grande, because I watched another TikTok, this is where I get all my news, but it has been confirmed. But Jonathan Chu was asked a question in one of his town, we probably went to like a university or something like that, and did like a Q&A. And Jonathan Chu was asked, how do you know if it was Cynthia? How do you know if it was Ariana Grande? And when they did casting, they invited both of them to his home, and he forced them to basically sing. I forgot who was playing it on the piano, but I think it was, I don't know if it was Jonathan Bailey, I don't know if it was Jonathan Bailey, but once they started singing, Ariana Grande and Cynthia, after they were done eating in John Chu's home, like, that's when he knew that this movie was going to work. And it's so incredible to me that even the way they casted this movie is completely different from what we usually see. And I really do love that. I really do love the fact that we really do have all of these different unique elements. And even John Chu said in his questionnaire that if this movie didn't get made, it was because they couldn't find somebody to play Alphaba and played Glinda. So it would still be in the works if they couldn't find the right person, and they did right. They did right. And I think that's how movie making should be. Like, I get how some movies are pushed and changed and morphed into something else based off of the director, the producer, the actors. But when you have an idea, especially something that is so beloved, you have a play, you have a movie that's something so beloved that it needs to be done right, and you can't have any big name actress or big name whatever kind of move you into playing it. And I like you have these two people, and they kind of represent like the next generation of people who like Wicked. And this movie definitely brought all different types of people from walks of life. Even my brother, who's not into Wicked, didn't know anything about Wicked, didn't know anything about any of this nature, was not into plays, not into any of that, was able to really watch the movie, and he was like, oh, this movie was actually so incredible. And so I'm also in that same camp. Like, I know nothing about Wicked. I know nothing about the adaptation, its connection to Wizard of Oz, even though I love the original Wizard of Oz movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, classic. I know nothing about the Wicked, so I don't know any of the songs. So I was quite skeptical going into watching the movie, and because I am not a big musical person, I watch a lot of movies, I watch a lot of TV shows, as y'all know, but I'm not a really big, I don't like musical movie adaptations or musical TV show adaptations, to be quite honest with you. So I was quite skeptical. My expectation of the movie was on the ground. When I left the movie, I was crying. I cried 3 or 4 times in the movie. I need to watch it again. It's so good. Like I usually do, I'm going to go through each and every character, and we're going to talk about their acting, their impact on the movie, how they all played. And that's what I usually do here on the I'm About It movie and TV show review podcast for the most part. So we'll talk about Ariana Grande. Everybody loved Ariana Grande. What I loved about Ariana Grande and her adaptation of Glinda is the fact that she is Glinda in real life to me. Like, she is very much a very airy, very popular person, very happy-go-lucky. Like, even her voice, her tone of voice is like, hi, how are you? Good morning. That's kind of how I see Ariana Grande. So to me, when people are like, oh my gosh, should have played Elphaba, I could never see Ariana Grande play Elphaba. Like, in what world we see this kind of like, she's like a fairy, you know what I mean? Like an actual fairy godmother, you know what I mean? Like, she's very, like, tone of voice, like, happy. How do you transform her into playing Elphaba? It makes no sense to me, even though that's the role that I know that Ariana Grande wanted to play, you know, for many years. What hooked me was the very first scene. Ariana's voice when they saw that the Wicked Witch of the West, I think, is dead. Oh my God, she sounded like an angel. Like, was she singing opera? That was incredible. The notes she's able to hit with that song is incredible. I loved it so much. And that's why I knew, whoa, we're in for a ride. We're in for a good ride. And it's going to be really rewarding. Now, there's only like a few movies in the year where I go, you know what, that was worth $30-$40 of the popcorn and the overpriced popcorn and the overpriced drink and the overpriced ticket. That was worth the money. And I would pay that amount again. This movie was that. Ariana Grande was kind of like annoying. To me, I feel like she was playing herself for the most part. Like, to me, I can see, like, she is Glinda. So I think her music range is amazing. We saw that in the first scene. Her acting was okay, but I love the fact that you can tell her acting, her ability to act, you can see it on her face. You can see it on Ariana Grande's face. She goes, like, her facial expressions are quite slight, and that's how you know that she should, I don't know if it's all the Botox, I don't know what it is, but, like, I'm a very, like, expressive person, like, in terms of my facials. So when she's like, yeah, like, it's like a slight change in her facial structure. It's incredible to see that. So she doesn't have quite expressive face. Maybe due to the Botox. I don't know. So, but yeah, like, her character was annoying to me. Honestly, it does seem like Glinda was quite jealous of Elphaba, and if I was Elphaba, I wouldn't be too close to Glinda. Like, in real life, I don't think they would be best friends, to be quite honest. So yeah, I mean, we all know the saying, keep your friends closer and your enemies closer. So keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So that's that. Jonathan Bailey, I love him. Like, I think that he played the perfect role. He can sing, he can act. He's a quite great chameleon, and he's probably going to be the next one of those rising stars that we're seeing. Of course, we saw him in Bridgerton, and we showed his amazing acting there. And yeah, I mean, I really liked him. I have no notes on him. I think he's gonna be great. You know, I love the fact that he's into Elphaba. You know, I don't think it's weird the fact, because Elphaba has more substance and Elphaba is interesting, so it only makes sense that the character that Jonathan Bailey is playing is into Elphaba because she's different and she's like totally what he's not used to, and she challenges him, versus like Glinda doesn't do that. So it makes sense for his character to be into Elphaba. I mean, I hate the fact that Bach wasn't really into Nessa Rose. Like, Bach is doing it to please Glinda. Like, I hate that. Apparently in the second movie, like, you know, Bach ends up being the Tin Man.
I believe. Nessa Rose is a horrible sister. Like, Nessa Rose is a horrible, horrible sister. I get it, I get you've had a hard life too, but at the same time, it does seem like you've been spoiled by your father and your sister has been helping you in every area of your life. And for you to not help Elphaba in this new school, in this next stage of her life, and put her out to dry and not be there for her and stick up for her is actually kind of disgusting. And so, like, the camera keeps panning to Nessa Rose, but, like, I cannot stand her face because she's a horrible person. So yeah, we're gonna go off to Michelle Yeoh. Perfect choice as Madame Morrible. Perfect choice. Perfect. I have no notes. The Wizard of Oz. I can totally see, like, Jeff Goldblum's performance as the Wizard of Oz wasn't enough for me to be like, oh my god, no one else can fill that role. No, I do feel like any other comedian, any other comedic actor can fill that role because it wasn't distinctive enough. I didn't even know he can sing, but I'm sure his voices were adapted for the movie and enhanced. But I do see that he wasn't great in the role. I do think that he hopefully gets better in Wizard of Oz 2. In Wicked 2. And then we'll leave off with my favorite character, of course, is Elphaba. I do feel like I'm more of an Elphaba, and my sister's more of a Glinda. I am the different personality, totally different, the black sheep of the family. I wasn't really a popular person, even though I wasn't a person. Like, I was a person, even in high school. Like, I was a person who knew, like, knew everybody's circles. Even though I was in my own circle, but I was kind of friends from a person like from each and every circle in high school, and I was different, and I was quote unquote loner, which I hate that term. Like, it's okay to be independent as you are growing up. It's not a loner, it's just you don't want to be around people, and the people that you are around are not worthy enough to be around you, and that is okay, especially when you have horrible people growing up. You either just be by yourself. Like, the happiness that being by yourself brings to you is more than enough than being with somebody else who treats you horribly and doesn't listen to you and does the opposite and makes you feel horrible and makes you feel small. And sometimes just being by yourself and being your own confidant and your own cheerleader is all that you need in life. And I completely get where Elphaba is about. Now, onto the actual movie. I loved all of the scenes. I think the one scene that I think a lot the TikTokers on the TikTokers playing out is the one where she goes loathing, dun, 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 loathing, and they do like the big number with all the people in the books. That's like my worst scene. I hated that scene. My favorite scene is Elphaba in the party when she comes in and she dances and she does this, and I cried. Like, if you were not crying, I don't know what you were watching. I cried because I've been there many times where you're coming in being yourself, being strong enough to be in a place that you usually are never in, when you know you're going to be ridiculed at, you know you're not going to be treated like everybody else, and performing and doing yourself against the grain while people are still making fun of you. It's so crazy to me. And so I love that scene. I can, like, if I watch it, I'll probably bawl my eyes out. Yeah, Elphaba's singing at the end. Oh my god, that last number where she decides to take hold of her own future and make a future of herself and leave Glinda, leave the world of the school of whatever that name of the school is, and leave her sister, rightfully so, and just create her own life for herself, was very empowering. And you can tell in that very moment, Glinda and Elphaba knew exactly who they were at that very moment. Elphaba is the type of person who would protest, who would go against the grain, who would mess up the system from the outside, while Glinda is like, I want to change the system too, but I want to change it from the inside. Like, I don't need to ostracize myself to do that. And Elphaba's like, well, I can't be part of a system while at the same time changing it, so you know what, I will leave. And so it makes all the right sense in the world, and it makes sense as to why they end up not going on the same path, going on different paths, and they just... So I find it was very moving. Like the music was incredible. Like Cynthia's voice is incredible. Cynthia Erivo's voice is incredible. Her acting is beyond amazing. Like if she doesn't sweep the Oscar and the Emmys, I don't know who will. And I will bet $1 million, if I wish I had that money, $1 million on this damn movie, because it's so damn good. And it's one of those movies too that it kind of reminds you of where you need to be in life and who you are and what it means to really be you and be authentically you. And while watching it too, like you fall in love with the movie making of cinema and what it means to like this feeling. Like the very first feeling I had when it comes to like my relationship with movie making and cinema and all of that was, I think, either the Spy Kids movie or Transformers 1. When I watched one of those movies, I forgot which one, the way I was like moved by a complete an hour and a half adaptation of a movie, it was like it changed my entire thinking. I always tell myself, if I want to get back to truly who I am, I walk myself into a movie theater, because that's what happens when I watch a movie. Like it's world changing. Like it changes your world. And I am dressing this way because I came back from outside from raking the leaves. I live in Canada, so it's quite cold. So I got my toucan, got my nice sweater on. Let me know what you guys think about the movie. Like this was incredible. I loved it so much. I give it 11 out of 10. 11 stars out of 10. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.